Hello. So, it's here. This is the one. I'm gonna do it. It's happening. After years of contemplating, I just decided I'm gonna go on a fly and see if I can show some basic ways, and maybe some more advanced ways too, of making fight scenes in movies, and in movies in particular. So this is going to be a very movie-focused kind of how-to guide sort of thing. It's probably going to drag a lot, so I'll do my best to kind of condense everything and keep things brief. But before we go into actually creating a fight scene, there's a couple of fundamentals that, in my eyes, are important when making one that we need to focus on first. And the first thing is the concept of making an explosion. So, for the type of explosion that we're going to be making, we need a piece of sticker panel, and it's going to be invisible. And on this piece of sticker panel, we're going to place a microchip. So this is where all of our logic is going to go here. I'm going to take a second piece of sticker panel, and I'm going to make it about, I'd say about this big here. Now this will be important later, but I'm going to just keep this here for right now. So on the microchip, we need a NOT gate. This one's going to be non-inverted, so this is going to be our active point here. And then make another one. This one is going to be inverted. Now I go down to the emitters, grab an emitter here. I'm going to place it down like so. In the emitter, there's a couple of different things that we can do. So we can do speed scale, or we can do emit once. We're going to do the speed scale one first. I'm going to make two different ones. We're going to make a speed scale one and then on an emit once one. So for the speed scale one, we want to put the lifetime at 0.1 and the frequency to 0.1 as well. We want the max emitted to be infinite. We want the max emitted at once to be 1. And destroy oldest when max is reached, we want this set to yes. We don't bother with the creative effect. For the destroy effect, we're going to do explode. You're going to connect the NOT gate that's on the side of the emitter to the input that's on the side to the active point, and then you're going to connect the inverted NOT gate to the destroy all input on the emitter. So it should look like this. And then we're going to take a second connector and connect it to the NOT gate. So it should look like this. And I'll keep it sprawled out like this so you can see that this is how it needs to look. Okay, so this is our basic logic here. Give me 1 second actually. I'm going to take another NOT gate here, connect it like this, and then delete it, so that way we have a little cord here. That's just so that way it's easier to activate, and I have an input in the microchip when it's not open. Quick little tidbit. So now we're going to go into the emitter. We're going to take our, well actually, so this piece of sticker panel here, this is going to be our explosion. So it's going to emit in the center of this, and then it's going to explode, and that's going to cause the explosion effect. We could also add a sound effect as well, which I think we'll do that. So we'll do position sound to yes. That just means that when it activates, it's only going to be in that proximity, and the further away you are from it, the less you're likely to hear it. So now we're going to go into our sound effects here. Destruction. So we'll do explosion, and then we'll do another one. We'll do big boom. So you want to go to the trigger mode, and we want this to be on destruction. We want this to be on both of those. And what that means is that when it destroys itself, or when you destroy it or delete it, it's going to activate the sound effects. So now we're going to go into our emitter. Emit it. We'll put it a layer in front of the microchip here. So when you activate it, there we go. That's what it's going to look like. So that's one. We've made one. So we can actually just copy and paste this one, and we can make a single explosion, just like this. And to ensure that it only activates once, we'll put a counter here. Connect the counter to the input, connect the counter to itself, and then to the NOT gate. And then in the counter, you want it to be to 1. So it should look like that. So when you put it to 1, it's gonna reset itself every time, because that's how a counter works. And this is set to reset, so when you connect it to itself, it acts as a temporary switch. So now we have our two explosions. We have our consistent explosion, and we have our single explosion. So now we can actually get into working on the actual scene itself. Now the idea that I have is going to be pretty basic for the most part. So I'm just imagining that we got two sackbots here. I just always set it to Sackboy and select it to neutral, just because that's what I'm used to. A good decent size, about that size. One there, and one here. So what I'm imagining is this Sackbot's gonna go up to this one really fast, and he's gonna go flying a few feet, and then land on his back. Like, ugh, that hurt. So it's just gonna be that. So we'll put it at that for now. And so upon impact, we're gonna use our single explosion. And maybe we'll go a little more ambitious too, where he kind of like flies into a wall or something. And he lands on the wall and then lands here. So this is where things get a little complicated. The thing with fight scenes is it's just like working Sackbots normally in terms of how they move slowly. So if you're familiar with how I showed how to do it before, it's where you take a sequencer and then you put the mover on the Sackbot, and then you make the Sackbot move with the sequencer. That's pretty much what we're going to be doing, except we're not going to be using movers. We might use movers. We'll do two different kinds, because there's two different ways that this can go. We'll probably use movers just for the sake of the fact that they're easier to use. So for instead of like only going really slow, we're going to make them go really fast. So see 32 here. And because of how fast 32 can be, this is where the trial and error comes into play. So we need him to stop about here. And this is where I'm going to take an anti-gravity tweaker. We're going to dampen him. We're not going to dampen him completely, just enough to where he slows down. And see, that's already too fast. So this is where we have to do our trial and error. Almost. Close. Very, very, very close. You know what we could do is we could just actually move these guys back here. So, just a few notches. Right there. That's where we want them. So we got that part done. Now we need to make the second part of the sackbot going into the wall here. We're going to use the same logic. We might actually have to move this wall back a little bit. Except he's going to go up in the air a little bit. Just a little bit. And from here, we would connect a battery to the sequencer, which goes to the next sequencer here. So when you activate this one, activates this one. And we gotta work on that a little bit. And I'm thinking we only need one dampener. We're just gonna make them dampen almost immediately. Now I move the wall back a little bit. Maybe not make them go as fast. So this is what I mean by trial and error. You're going to be doing a lot of this. $15? Almost. Okay, so we're almost there. Maybe 14.3. Okay. We'll keep it right there for now. So we have the basic look of what we're going for now. So this is the very bare bones structure of what we're going for here. Now it's just a matter of adding the sound effects and the animations and costumes as well, actually. So let's see. Let's do static. I haven't seen static in a while. And then we'll do laser as well, just cause. The continuation to laser versus static 1.5. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. So, there's a couple of different things that I'm thinking. For this, we need to make another explosion, actually. So this one's going to be thick. And on this one, we're gonna make a piece like this. Make it invisible. We're not gonna give it a sound effect. It's just gonna be that. And we're gonna put it right at the bottom right here. So when you activate it, and what this is going to signify is when static goes sonic fast, you're going to watch him when he starts rushing towards laser. It's going to look like he's kind of jolting off the floor, you know, leaving dust in the air as he's going. Almost. That's good. Alright. Now take our single explosion here. This is going to be a really big explosion for a punch, now that I think about it. Just copy this over. Do the same thing here. So there's going to be a couple of different active points. This one can share this one here. And then we connect another battery to where the dampener starts. And then we're going to have one at the beginning here for this one here. So when we start it, and I think maybe we'll make him go forward a little bit. And maybe we could just make him go through the wall altogether, so he'll just kind of keep going. And if we're going to do that, yeah, let's do that, actually. We'll just make him go through the wall. And we got it pretty decently timed. Well, I don't know anymore now, actually. But we'll see, actually. So just put a destroyer on here. We'll set it to explode, no rigged connections. Connect the battery. Quick little trick here for you. If you put a alert on here, or a sound effect, and put the volume to 0, and then do on destruction, when you delete it, or when it's destroyed, it won't do the sound effect. So all we'll hear is just this one here. So let's see how this looks. A little too fast. So we'll just make it go faster. Almost. And if push comes to shove, we can just move the wall closer, actually. That was pretty solid, actually. Let's make him go a little higher. There we go. And say you want him to go a little, like, want the speed to, like, pick up faster than it actually is. Like, you don't think the acceleration is fast enough. We can just double up on the movers here. And because of that, we need to move static back a little bit now. Because he's too close. There you go. So, already, we're looking pretty good. Now let's add the animations, and this is where things get a little tricky. So, we have to take into consideration here the active points. So, about here, this is where the active points are. Now we're gonna take a movie sequencer out and we're gonna apply cameras. Well, we're not gonna apply cameras yet, but we'll get there. put it back here, actually. So cameras are probably going to be the last thing that we add. We're going to focus on the animations. So now that this has been established here, where's the battery? There it is. Have like a short little B-roll or whatever before the action sequence starts. This is where we're going to put our animations here. So we're going to go into the Sackbots, and we're going to label them as such. And then we're going to apply animation tweakers to the respective Sackbots. One for laser and one for static. So the bottom one will be laser, and the top one will be static. I applied them both. I applied them both to laser. Hold on. There we go. So for static, he's always kind of got this serious look on his face. So I already have an animation of, and I'm not gonna go into super detail about the animations because there's so many of them. But typically when I work animations, I don't make them, I don't have them at 100%. I usually have them at around either 50, 60, or 70. Sometimes 80 maybe. For laser, I don't really know what to have him do. I kind of just want him to... Where's the, Here, I have an idea, actually. There is the power-up one. And then hoverboard. I kind of like this animation here. Okay, so now we need to take this here, line it up, so that way we kind of know what we're doing here. Actually, no, it goes right here with where the battery starts. So that's what we have to take into consideration when animating here. So it's going to go do-do, and then laser is going to kind of go flying. So we'll make him... Oop, did not mean to do that. There we go. There's one here that I'm looking for, but I can't find it. Oh, here it is. He'll go from there. And actually, he'll just keep going, actually. because he goes past the wall. For static, he needs to have like a little part where he's getting ready to charge up to go in and like go for the punch. I kind of like the idea of him doing this thing here. It might have to be a little faster. And then from there, he'll go and do his punch. Then I'll make a separate one where the animation ends. And it goes back to his neutral state. So let's see how this looks right now. I'll put the camera over here so it doesn't do anything. Get rid of this since we actually don't need it. Okay, so now we know kind of where we stand. Honestly, it just might be better to do this. Have no build up. Just go straight to it. There. Ah, looked pretty good actually. I think there's still too much of a delay after that fact. And then I'm going to put all of the time blends. The time blend is pretty much just how fast or slow the transition between the animation tweakers are. And I always keep them at 30 just because it's kind of a nice happy medium. That's pretty good. Pretty solid. Still feel like laser needs to go up a little higher. There we go. That's much better. So now that we have the basic structure of it, we can apply the cameras now. And all it's a matter of doing now is just working around the logic that we just placed. There, see how this looks. Pretty solid. I still feel like there's too much of a delay on statics animations. That's better. So yeah, that's one way of doing it. And then after that, kind of like how this set is really basic and stuff, you just kind of build a set maybe around this as well. I actually have an example set that I'd like to use. Excuse me. See if we can't apply this to something a little more detailed. I have this set here, compliments of Kendrick, who did Titans and stuff. And we might have to work the set to fit everything, but that's fine. I guess I should have kept that piece of cardboard. We'll actually use metal because this is a metal structure, so we'll use metal. And then from here we'll just make it invisible. Kendrick and his sets. And from here I would need to tweak this. I kind of want to make this fit this, so it kind of looks like it's part of the grate here. What? Here we go. It's not the most believable thing, but it'll serve its purpose. It's kind of weird that there's not one on this side, but there's one on that side. Now let's tweak the lighting. Probably still shouldn't have gotten rid of that tweaker, but oh well. Let's add a cool background. Let's do DC. DC's a cool background. We will make it dark. darker. There we go. Now, last thing to add is music, but I wanna work the cameras a little bit more. I wanna add some depth of field to this. There we go. And then let's add some music here. Where's no, not that one. Not that one. I'm looking for I haven't played this game in so long. I'm trying to here it is. Power Trip. Power Trip's a good one. Alright, so let's see how this looks. 3, 2, 1, go. Doesn't look too bad, actually. So, that's just one example of making a skit to a fight scene. Now, as you saw, that there's a lot of variables involved in this. So, you know, we have the SACbots that have the the sequencers, and again, this is just one way of doing it. Obviously, if you wanted to do something more complicated, that means that would require more logic, and it's just a matter of, you know, layering stuff on top of each other and just continuing to add what's, you know, already been laid upon the foundation of what you're building. There's a lot of experimentation, a lot of trial and error involved, and this is just, again, one of many different kinds of things that you can make as far as the fight scenes go. And as far as this whole thing goes, I think this is the only thing that I'm actually comfortable and confident in sharing and being able to show you, just because the amount of explanation that would be required to fully explain everything that you could do, it would take hours. But yeah, so that's that. Why is this doing? Oh, that's because the background is different, that's why. I have to come back to the regular background. Oh, why? Why? LBP is weird. So, I hope that helped in some regard. Like I said, I'm not 100% confident in going into complete detail as to how to make every kind of scene for a fight scene. This is just, again, one of many different ways that you could work something. And if you decided to take this, step for step and just completely replicate it, that's completely up to you. But take what you can from this. Maybe try a different way of working it if that doesn't work for you. Maybe you want to use something else that you either find easier, or you're more comfortable with, or you think would work better. That's always my goal whenever it comes to uh, making these kinds of things, is to give you more or less of kind of just a perspective. That way you kind of have an idea of how it could be built, and then from there you can take it into your own hands. So I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed this for what it was. It was kind of a mess. It was kind of a like a last second kind of decision to decide to make this. So I hope I was able to explain things okay. If you got questions, post comments. I'll try to reply to them. So yeah, I'm gonna go now. Bye, Pancake Ninjas.